Hi, friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley Ariana, joined by Steph. Steph, we got some interesting news. I know right now the Bills are playing, but I felt like we could go live because that seems like it's going to be a blowout game. And the 49ers are going to be playing the Packers in the divisional round. If you listen to some media members, you might be under the impression that the 49ers should be scared. But if you look at every playoff meeting recently between the Packers and the 49ers, I would not be scared. So, how are you feeling after you watched the Packers versus Cowboys? And did you realize when they were like up by 27-0 that the 49ers would be playing them?
Yeah, pretty early in the game. I think by halftime, Kyle Shanahan was probably starting to prepare for the Packers because it was pretty clear early in that game that it was going to be them. So another advantage for the 49ers to know pretty early that they could start preparing for them. Also, the fact that this game is going to be on a Saturday, it's a short week for the Packers. So I think this is just the best case scenario for the 49ers, honestly. And I know a lot of people are like, I'm not scared of, I wasn't scared of the Rams, not scared of the Packers, that kind of thing. But I'm just always like weary. I wouldn't say like scared or worried. I would just say like weary. I hope that's not a synonym for worried. I don't think. Like of teams that are on like a hot
Hesitant,
streak.
hesitant.
Yeah,
You
yeah, like cautious. I'm just cautious about a team like the Packers who are on a hot streak. Clearly, they're riding the success of Jordan Love right now and how good he's been looking. In the past month or two. And so they gave it to the Cowboys. That's something I wasn't really expecting. Although the Cowboys seem to kind of have this history of collapsing in the playoffs, so maybe I can't be too surprised. But yeah, I'm not. It's not that I'm like worried about him, but I respect Jordan Love a lot right now. I respect, Jair Alexander. We'll see how he, um, looks throughout the week because I know he exited that game with an injury. But yeah, I'm not scared.
play. He's been a
I
baller.
will.
He's been in and out all
Yeah,
year with
yeah,
the
no, he's good. He had CD Lamb in hell. Like Lamb couldn't do anything when he was in there covering him. So I'll say this too, because I know you mentioned, all the success that the 49ers have had against the Packers in recent history in the playoffs. This is a completely different team. Well, not completely, but for the most part on offense, it's almost completely different. Aaron Jones probably like the only mainstay since the last time the 49ers played, and AJ Dillon, I believe, who was with that team as well, but completely revamped pass catchers, bunch of young wide receivers. I like the group of receivers they have, and we mentioned Jordan Love being the starter now, and he's looked great. He's been throwing the ball like, I know Rich points out the term arm arrogance. He has a lot of arm arrogance, and he can fit it into tight windows that you can't really defend. So yeah, it's going to be a tough test, but I think the 49ers, if they're the team that we've been hyping up this entire year, they should be able to come out with the win.
found this kind of interesting. Jordan Love. So the Packers and the 49ers both 7-3, right? The last 10 games. And then Jordan Love is averaging, or over those 10 games, he has 23 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. So that's kind of amazing. And when you talk about it being a new team, in some ways you would think that was scary, right? Like I have a friend who's a Packers fan, and he actually messaged me and he was like, I support everything you do, but this next week we're gonna be enemies until my Packers smoke your 49ers. And I was like, good luck, buddy. But the funny thing is he did say, he was like, with us being a younger team, I kind of expected us to be like a year away from the playoffs. But the cool thing about this team being younger and Jordan Love kind of being at the helm, besides Aaron Rodgers, is I feel like they do things more on the fly now. Like they're kind of like, they don't realize the big position they're in. Like they haven't lost yet, so they don't have that like scar tissue that maybe makes them hesitant or real. Like, it feels like they're just kind of going out there and seeing what they can do and being like, hey, we're say by the Texans, right? Like, we're kind of, at this point, people think we're just lucky to be here. So we're just going to go out and give it our all. If we lose, people are going to be happy with us. And if we win, like, it's going to be a cool surprise. And like, when they start getting momentum in a game, you can kind of see that like spunk, because they are such a younger team. You can see that spunk in them.
Mhm.
Now you did point out the injuries. That Packer injury report was like 15 players long. A lot of what I heard earlier from LaFleur's press conference, a lot of people getting MRIs and stuff, and like kind of day to day. So we won't know till later on down the week. But I do think Jordan Love has excellent chemistry with his receivers. I'm so impressed by his arm talent. It's kind of funny, right? Because I think earlier in the year, and especially the last like seasons when Aaron Rodgers has been in the team, like people kind of assumed that Jordan Love was maybe either a bust or not going to be that good, because they were like, well, if he's that good, why is he, waiting on the bench? And even to start the year, I think I heard, it might have been Rich Madrid said, like, you could cut up some of Jordan Love's plays and make him look like the best quarterback in the league. Like, he has some highlight plays, but
Mhm.
his problem was consistency. But over
Yeah.
the last couple, not even couple, but 10 weeks, you've really seen that team get more consistent, especially as their players, ironically, got, healthier. I know at NDSU with Trey Lance,
Christian
Christian
Watson.
Watson, he was on, has really struggled with injuries earlier in his career, but they have really great chemistry when he's in the game. I don't know. I'm very impressed by the Packers, and I feel like I kind of got had to like reassess them in this game, because even though they're the Cowboys and they suck and they always lose in the first round of the playoffs, just because of Green Bay's youth, not because like I always thought, oh, they're going to be scary coming up, like they have some talented playmakers, but I assumed, one, that it would be a close game, and two, because it was at home, I thought Dallas was going to win. So I was
Mhm.
shocked that they put that team away. Also, though, if you look back at those 10 games and at all their games this year, most of them aren't blowout wins. Most of them are those
Right.
competitive back and forth wins. That's how they beat the Lions, was like a really close win. And so when you think about that, and we've talked about maybe some of the hesitation we have with the 49ers, it's like they have to kind of start out and get a lead. And I thought the thing that I really liked when we're talking about Spunky and the Packers, they won the coin toss and they chose to get the ball first.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
was cool too, because like that's like, I don't know. I know there's an argument to like kind of getting the ball twice, like when you get it back out. But I thought that shows some confidence. And if they did that, because the 49ers game plan is normally to like stop the other team on their first drive and score right away, like kind of take an early lead. And this Green Bay Packer can hang around in close games. So I really feel like this 49ers team, although I do think are more experienced and more talented, I do think they're going to kind of have to stick to their game plan if they really want to, win, because I do think this could be one of those back and forth games that they're not used to yet. How are you? Do you have confidence in the 49ers going into this game? I know it's earlier on in the week, but close game. I do like you pointed out the rest factor with all the injuries. That's going to be a problem. And for the 49ers, it's going to be really good. But they can't afford, I know Steve Young talked a lot about rust. They can't afford a rusty Brock Purdy in the first half, because by that time, the game might be over. So,
Yeah, I feel confident about the 49ers as I have like all season, right? I mean, because when they're playing their best football and when they're healthy, there isn't a team that can really stop them. I think the game against the Ravens being like an outlier in that. But aside from that, I think the 49ers have shown that they can be the better team. And you can even argue that the 49ers were moving the ball in that Baltimore game, you know, which Baltimore, one of the top defenses in the league, and they got like 500 yards worth of offense in that one. So, yeah, I do feel confident in the 49ers in this one. I think, yeah, the fact that the Packers are young. You say spunky, that's a good word. Yeah, I think like they play freely. And the fact that they have so many young receivers, like they're just having fun out there. Like that's what it looks like. And
Yeah, I really like that.
I think in the past like month or two that they've really honed in and gotten more consistent, I think they've kind of figured out like what works for them and like, oh, like we might have something here. Let's just see how far we could take this. And like you said, I don't think they really expected to be here, but at the same time, like they're riding that wave. So yeah, they're gonna come in with a lot of confidence, but how much like I'm kind of wondering how much of that confidence is gonna stick around given the
Yeah,
fact
once they
that
kind of realize that they're
you just beat the Cowboys. It almost felt like in that game you can see like it wearing off, not the confidence, but just like, okay, we did what we were supposed to
also
do.
like
Like,
tired. That the like
yeah, that
the
too. They
thing
play
they
there
can
were
see it
some
going in.
defensive players. There's some defensive players that played like 90, 85 snaps in that game.
Yeah, because didn't they took their starters out for a second and then they ended up with them back
Yeah.
in?
I don't know if they
Yikes.
put him back in. I wasn't really like paying attention that hard at that point, but yeah, they had a lot of guys who
Which,
played a lot
no
of
offense,
snaps. They're
Dak
gonna
Prescott
be
needed
tired.
that. No offense, but Dak Prescott needed that little bit of comeback because if they would have
Yeah,
lost with that, like the whole offseason would have been like Dak's not the quarterback for us. I mean, it's probably still going to be that, but he definitely redeemed himself a little bit with that like fake comeback. Which once again, I think when you watch that Packers defense, it looked like they really tired down, and maybe that'll be a little bit of a transition when we are talking about this game. I feel like it's been a narrative that the Packers defense has been definitely the weak link of the Packers team, but like the way that people were talking going into this game, did you watch the Lions Rams game? I
yeah,
thought that the Packers defense was like that, where both teams were just walking down the field scoring on each other. The Packers defense, I thought, did at least in the first half a fairly good job. Now, I can see what you're saying, like, and I love when the 49ers do this. You can see another team realize the level of team they're playing and be like, oh no, we can't hang around with them. Like you see the defeat start to get to
yeah,
them.
yeah,
And I do feel like I like what you said. Like I can see that realization coming over this team, young, excited. They just like weren't expected to beat the Cowboys. Okay, we're gonna go into our next competition. I can only imagine LaFleur after all this time he spent with Shanahan and going against the Cowboys, him telling his team like this is not the same. Do not expect the same level of effort. Do not expect the same game plan. The level of physicality is going to be on a whole new level. I mean, we've seen this 49ers team off of rest. I can't wait to see Fred Warner. I can't wait to see Deebo Samuel. Someone wrote in the comments that Christian McCaffrey is going to help Brock a lot. I really do. I think they should come out of the game running the ball. I think the Green Bay Packers, when we look at their defense, have really struggled against the run. I know it's kind of ironic to say that because the Cowboys just struggled, but it seemed like the Cowboys just had their run game especially struggled. Also, Dak Prescott just giving the ball to the other team. But we have seen Purdy do that occasionally. So as long as Purdy doesn't have one of those games, which is very rare for him, how do you think that the 49ers, obviously early on, are going to attack? And this is just a fun question. Do you think that Kyle Shanahan was like watching that game last night and starting to game plan like kind of right away? I mean, I'm sure they did due
absolutely.
diligence on the Packers ahead of time, but like I can see like halftime them in the office, like, all right, let's start game planning.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think like at halftime it was already pretty clear you'd be playing the Packers, and I think Kyle was probably already like thinking some things in his head, like, okay, this is what they're doing. It's different though when you watch the game in all 22, and you can see like defensively where guys are lined up and how they move post snap and all that. So I'm sure he watched it back, once he got that film as well. And yeah, he started to get to work. I shared like one of the clips that in an interview that Kyle Shanahan had with like Greg Papa, just like one of their weekly or monthly interviews they do. And Kyle said like the main focus was just finding out who the team was that they were going to be playing, and once they find out who that team is, it's going to be 24/7, like all hands on deck to prepare for that team, and no other thought is going to go into their head but besides that team. So, I think Kyle is probably scheming up some stuff right now as we speak, right? Like he's probably doing his homework on this team. He, as far as like their offense goes, of course, there's a lot of similarities in schematically in what they want to do. I think that's at least part of the reason why the 49ers have had success defensively against the Packers in the past. I think with Jordan Love, and these young receivers, they have some new wrinkles. But all in all, going back to the Packers defense just a bit, I was impressed with them and how they came out. They set the tone really early, and it just seemed like the Cowboys didn't really have an answer for it early, so they couldn't respond. I don't think it's going to be that way against, Kyle Shanahan. I think Kyle has, players on the Packers defense that he has under a microscope, the microscope meme. I already saw Rich post one. So, there's guys on that defense that they're going to want to exploit. And as long as there's a guy you can exploit, you can feel good about Kyle Shanahan scheming guys open around said guy. So I think Kyle's going to be able to, find some matchups that he likes, and the 49ers should be able to respond. And then slowly you can kind of wear down the Packers' confidence a little bit, because they're going to come in and they are going to be confident because they just took down, the number 2 seed. But there's some things you could do to kind of knock that down a notch. And I think it's on Shanahan to do that, and Purdy and, all these great playmakers. So I think they'll come out and want to make a statement of their own.
I completely agree. I really liked this comment, and it kind of this is a different comment that I really like. I start a couple of them. But first of all, I liked this. The Cowboys gave up because of lack of character. Fred Warner says the talent gives you a chance, but only character gets you there. Low character teams, Cowboys, fold when they encounter adversity, not the Niners. And I agree with that. I think if there's anything we've seen under the Kyle Shanahan regime in general, not just like this team this year, but it's their ability to continue to fight in adversity. And they know what it feels like to kind of get to the playoffs and face adversity, and how heartbreaking the loss can be when you don't reach their ultimate goal. And I just, knock on wood, but I can't see a team with this much playoff experience, with the high expectations that they have, with the rest, that I think every one of them is going to be 110% locked in. I read a different comment that said with a healthy O-line, Christian McCaffrey, our run game should dominate the ground, giving Purdy plenty of options, and then also options down the field, because we're going to be able to get Green Bay's defense down here. I loved all of that. And this, when we're kind of talking about the game plan of it all, I think the Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, sorry, matchup is going to be really interesting. And I think there's a lot of stake for Kyle Shanahan because his expectations of his team are so high, and with the Packers, it's kind of lucky to be here, that I think it would be a huge deal if the 49ers lost. But I just can't see, when we look at Kyle Shanahan's record against his, I don't know if underlings, so that might be dismissive to call them, but he has a really good record against his tree. So I think he's going to be fully prepared. I think in some ways he's probably happy that they're facing the Packers, because he might feel like he knows how to game plan against them a little bit. And hopefully they'll stick to more of their bread and butter, because I know sometimes it can be a little, they get into each other's head when it's like that. But so far, most of the time with the Packers, unless it was Aaron Rodgers pulling out some craziness, Kyle Shanahan has done a good job against this. And it being a younger team, it kind of reminds me of there can be a younger team with momentum, but if they went and played the Patriots, Bill Belichick's gonna kind of smash that a little bit. I feel like Kyle Shanahan's gonna be putting those defenders in a little bit of a blender. And right. I think our offense, Fred, they were just talking about Fred Warner and his character. I just, off of a bye week, I think they're going to cause, they're going to be hitting a little bit extra hard. They're going to be, not crossing the line, but showing people what the standard is, and that's not whatever the Cowboys were showing them.
Right. And I know we were all like kind of worried about this rest versus rust. Like you can't come out of this bye week and even, some rest for some players in week 18 and, come out flat in the divisional round. I kind of feel like, yeah, like that's still at play, right? Like there's still that risk. But I think the fact that the 49ers are going to be focused, the fact that they watched these wild card games and saw so many upsets, like you can't take anyone lightly. So I think it was kind of good that there were so many upsets and so many blowouts in this weekend, because I mean there's no excuse for the 49ers to go out and think it's going to be the same, and they're facing a team that upset, the Cowboys, right? So and I
Yeah,
know,
I'm like,
we
not
joke
seriously.
around, we joke around about the Cowboys, the 49ers do too, but it's just a cautionary tale, I guess, of you got to go in and you got to be focused. If you're the top dog, the top team in the division or in the conference, you got to be, able to defend that in any of
That's
these
the cool
games.
thing. That was the cool thing about that game too. Isn't it the first time that a seventh seed has won? I know they've only been doing this for like 4 years, but I thought that was cool about the Packers too. I read that it was the first time that um a seventh seed had won against the upper team. I mean, I bet the Cowboys didn't expect to lose going into that game, so I think you're right. I don't think Kyle Shanahan is sitting in his office like, I don't have to take this team seriously. They're
Mhm.
preparing like it's any other team. And the good thing is, it does sound like Eric Armstead will be ready to play. Now, I did just see this and I double checked, and it looks like they're right. It's supposed to rain on Saturday. That's kind of
Yeah,
terrifying.
I checked the
Right?
forecast, yesterday there was like a 55% chance. If you look at it today, and I'm using like, the iPhone weather app, it says 70% now. Earlier today, it said 60%. Now it says 70%. But these things could change, like, so it's just something have to monitor throughout the week. But as of right now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is forecasted for rain. So just something to keep an eye on, something that could play a role in this game. Hopefully, it's just like light showers or something like that, and not something that really changes the outcome in any way. But definitely something to monitor throughout the week.
No one asked, but I am in New York right now, and it snowed the other day. Like I saw the snow coming from the sky to the earth, and it was so crazy. And
Your
then
first
today, for
time
everyone
must have
who's
been.
in here waiting in the comments, the reason we were a little bit late is because I was locked out of my friend's house, and I was also in the snow. So much snow has been happening.
Yeah, it's cold.
So
It's cold out.
it's very cold. Steph and I were bonding over the fact that we both look cold, but I thought I looked funny in my beanie, so I took it off. But but like when you're walking around, I have to be like this, and
It's
and I
that
can't
cold.
I can't like put like my fingers get so cold that I can't text.
You
I
need
have to put them.
gloves.
I but okay. But have you ever tried to type with gloves? Like it doesn't work.
You need the special gloves that have like the phone, like it has a special grip. They sell them at Costco. I've got a couple pairs. You just need one of those.
I'm gonna go instead of going to Costco. I'm gonna make the trip to go to Steph's. That's what's gonna happen. We're both
Okay.
gonna meet up at the Super Bowl, and she's gonna bring me
There you go. There
some
you go.
things.
In
I
in
don't want to
sunny
sound
Vegas.
like like the Rams fan though. Did you see there was like a guy who kept getting quote tweeted after the Lions won last night? So he was like the upcoming matchups for the Rams, and he like put them all the way to the Super Bowl. It's like no, buddy, no. Were you happy that the Lions won?
Um Sure. I mean, I don't really like care either way, like I guess which team won. I thought the Rams would win. It was pretty close. It was a really close game. That's kind of what I expected, you
Bit of
know.
a hold, but they both got like the Lions got screwed over by a call, so I guess it's fine. It like evens out, but there was a bit of like a jersey pull, like 2 minutes into that last drive that I was like, oops.
Yeah, yeah. There was. I mean, yeah, there's weird calls in kind of every game, but yeah, that was a pretty bad one. But I don't you can say it's a good thing that the Rams won, because honestly, like, or sorry, that they lost, because they were one of the teams that again, like maybe worried is not the right term, right? I hate people say like everyone was scared of the Rams. Like no one was scared of them. Like I think me and a lot of people who felt the same way were just like again cautious. The Rams know the 49ers like really well, more than any other team that's in the playoffs right now. So yeah, that is kind of an advantage over a lot of teams in the
And
playoffs.
everything is about like matchups. It's not necessarily about who's the better team, but if Sean McVay could
Right, it's a
potentially
chess
coach
match, like,
better against,
playoff
yeah.
playoff games are chess matches, and so
And
that's why you see teams that aren't necessarily better, beat, quote, unquote, "better teams" because, like, it's all about how you prepare for it, how you game plans, how you scheme it all up, how you execute, all these things, so yeah, in my mind, it was a good thing that the Rams got eliminated. The Lions looked good, like, their defense looked better in that game, right? Because
I
I
thought
think
they
that
got
was
better
a
as the game went on. But you're right. I mean, they held them to some field goals up the top. I will say, I feel like the first couple drives, I was like, both of these defenses really suck. Like, I thought they were both just gonna see who could score more. Like, I was like, it's just gonna be whoever has the ball last. But they got better as the game went on a little bit. Everyone seems to be like really. Well, first of all, a lot of people are saying if it's going to be raining, they think that favors the 49ers because of the run game. Talking about Christian McCaffrey, I get scared of rain games because in the past the 49ers haven't done well in the rain, which is confusing because they are usually a run first, very dominant defensive team, and those seem to usually thrive in the rain. But I don't know. I just have like, this was 2 years ago, so I need to let go of some demons. But I have Carson Wentz like throwing when he was at in Indy, but it was at Levi's, but it was when he was playing for the Colts in that like storm that they had. And I just like I see him in my nightmares just throwing deep balls down the field in the rain.
yeah. I mean, anytime it's stormy, like that definitely evens the playing field, and uh, it could be
I
anyone's game at that point. But that's
run
why
game
I'm
versus
like, is it going to be a monsoon? I don't think so. But it could just be like showers in that game. Hopefully, like I don't
stay.
know if as of right now, it's not forecasted to rain throughout the week, but it would I think kind of be helpful if it were forecasted to rain throughout the week because then the 49ers could practice in the rain and kind of get a feel for it
Yeah.
beforehand. But as of right now, that's not in the forecast.
James Welsh says it's the playoffs, and I'm always worried. One and down. Cowboys were 10-point favorites at home, just like the 49ers, which, by the way, I think is kind of a crazy line.
That's crazy.
49.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I should finish reading the comment before I put my input. 49ers are 10-point favorites at home, but will win rain or shine. I agree on picking the 49ers to win. I also think that line is too much, but I
That's
understand
crazy.
it.
It
I
is
think
pretty crazy,
like
but at the
5 or
time, it comes from the 49ers like blowing like good teams
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. I
They've
feel like
done
if
that.
they are gonna win, they're gonna win like that.
Yeah. I mean, at 10 points is I think reasonable. Like
That's like
you
a
haven't asked
touchdown
my
and a
score
field goal.
prediction, but I think the 49ers win over 10 points.
I feel like okay, 10 points sounds like a lot, but I bet when I do my score
It's
prediction, because I'm
yeah, it's disrespectful, but it's
right,
okay
it's like
for us to predict
I
it.
almost wonder like, and this is a cocky thing to say, but like, are the 49ers gonna kick up? Like, are they gonna punt the ball, or are they just gonna score every time? Like, I
What do you
kind of
mean?
think
Like, are they gonna kick with Jake
I kind of
Moody
I kind
or
of no. I just mean like, will they even have to use Jake Moody because they could
oh,
be having so much success?
um, in an ideal world, they don't need Jake Moody in this game. If he has to go out there and kick, like it's in a comfortable lead already. That way, Jake Moody doesn't feel any
Jake Moody
pressure.
kicking in the rain. Gosh, he didn't go for it. Go for it every time. No, we can
He
figure
needs to
that
get
out
his
later.
we need to get his confidence
No, we
back,
don't. We'll get it out. We'll get it out
somehow.
next year. I don't think he needs to kick again all year long. He can just get a ring. um, we're talking about the rain. Brock Purdy has struggled in the rain sometimes. How do you feel about Brock Purdy versus Jordan Love? I've heard some Jordan Love is more talented. Brock Purdy has better statistics over the last 10 games. I was just reading this. Brock Purdy's completion percentage is 70%. He averages 288.5 yards per game. He has 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Like 4 of those are from one game, though, so that kind of skews that, I feel like. Not that you can take out of a game, but I just feel like it makes it seem like maybe he's throwing one every game. He just had like one really terrible game.
Yeah, right.
And then 113.7 QB rating. In comparison, Jordan Love, kind of interesting, a little bit lower completion percentage, 68.5 completion percentage, averaging a little bit less yards, 207.1 yards, but then 2 more touchdowns, 23 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, which is really good. Now, if you take out, and I don't know if it's fair to do this, but if you take out 10 before, that's still 6. So way better on the touchdowns, but similar QB rating. How is that possible? Why does he have a similar QB rating if he's thrown so many
you
more
asked
touchdowns?
me how quarterback rating and passer rating are formulated, how that's calculated, I couldn't tell you yet, honestly. But I do post when it fits my
lower
narrative.
quarterback rating, and he has more touchdowns and more less interceptions. I don't understand how these things work.
I don't know how that's I don't know how it's
just based off. Because I'm gonna ask you a couple of different things. So we're gonna start just based off of talent. Who do you think is better, Jordan Love or Brock Purdy?
I mean, off of talent alone, Jordan Love, I think, there's a reason that he went where he did in the draft compared to where Brock was taken in the draft. Like, I think the arm talent that Jordan Love has is, it's better than Brock Purdy, and that's no slight on Brock Purdy. I don't want people to take it that way because some people you can't compliment other players without it being like a knock on someone else. Yeah, that's just the truth. And he knows it too. The throws that he makes and that he attempts is he knows he has the arm strength to do it. There's a lot of times he's throwing off his back foot, like he's throwing off platform, like he's not even really set, like he's throwing jumpers out there.
About, like,
it's crazy.
The Kyle Shanahan versus LaFleur thing. That is like a difference, right? Like I feel like a lot of Kyle Shanahan's really impressive plays, or like a lot of the 49ers really impressive plays. Some of them are like Brock Purdy making something out of nothing. Like we definitely have to give him credit. He is a playmaker. But when even watching that Dallas game, like some of the best throws and plays in that game were just like Jordan Love being like, screw it. Like I believe in my, like completely like turned around, like a throw that you're like, what are you doing? And it's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Jordan Love definitely has like the better arm talent. I think as far as their poise goes, they're similar players. They don't seem to get rattled by pressure. I think they have a lot of confidence in their abilities to like escape the pocket and keep their eyes upfield and get the ball out. So that's one way they're pretty similar in that way. And yeah, I mean, I think Brock Purdy's a smart player. I think that's part of the reason that he's been as good as we've seen him and he's improving. And I'm not saying Jordan Love isn't smart. I'm just saying, like, for what I've seen of Brock, I think he's the way he understands defenses and can manipulate. I haven't seen enough of Jordan Love to like, know. But I think he's probably smart at that stuff too.
Jordan Love has like a lot of, like, we're not saying he doesn't have these other things, but just off of like that Dallas game.
I always feel like I have to reiterate, like I'm not saying like you gotta like.
He does have a lot of like physical attributes where, because Brock Purdy might be more limited in that area, he is impressive when it comes to the mental aspect of the game. Like when we're complimenting Brock Purdy, some of his best talents. I mean, he is definitely more mobile than we probably thought in the draft. Like, so people need to give him credit for that escapability, mobility, his decision making, his accuracy, his ability to optimize kind of the offense that he's in, knowing the scheme kind of between the eyes definitely seems to be Brock Purdy's most valuable asset. Kind of cool, like two quarterbacks, both very, young in their playing careers in the playoffs, and both taking, maybe proving some doubters wrong. Obviously, Jordan Love drafted in the first round because of his talent, but it did seem like the longer he sat on the bench, the more doubt people might have had. KJ says Jordan Love has talent, but Brock Purdy has character. He's a silent assassin, as Christian McCaffrey has. I mean, I haven't watched enough of the Packers, but I do think that, both teams probably have a lot of character. But I think that when it comes to the 49ers, not just Brock Purdy, but the team as a whole has like an extra edge to them just based off experience. If you remember, I think it was not this year, not last year, but 2 years ago when the Warriors, they went against, was it the Celtics? And the Celtics were the younger, more feisty team that did, kind of outperform their expectations. And what Draymond Green was always saying, and I know he's controversial, but he was always saying in his press conferences was like, the playoff experience is what sets us apart and takes us, like, we know how to play when we're in these moments, and that's going to give us the extra edge. And that was the year that they won. I know they've won a lot, but it was the most recent year that they won. And I do think that there is something to that. Wanted to read this. Sherman had a good tweet, I believe, talking about after the Packers team, how the offseason discussion would be about these young QBs like Brock, Love, Stroud are going to be interesting. I really agree. If you were like building a new team, like a brand new team, this is just a thought experiment, and you had to choose one of these young quarterbacks, who would you choose? I know who I would choose.
I would choose Stroud.
Me too. He was so impressive in that game.
He's the total package as far as
Ryan,
go.
Former 49ers coach, like out there making us look good. I felt like proud of them when I was watching the game. I was like, go them.
Yeah, their defense reminded me of the Niners, like when D'Amico was the defensive coordinator. They were flying to the ball, they were super aggressive, super confident. I loved it. I'm rooting for them on the AFC side for sure. They have a tough draw next week against the Ravens, so definitely going to be rooting for the Texans in that one.
That would be such a cool upset. Like, and the 49ers would be like, thank you. Like, they would not mind not having to face the Ravens again. I like that. They did really remind me of the 49ers, probably because there was a lot of 49ers on that team. Like, you're like, oh, that's like us in a different parallel universe. I see it. And I feel like, and maybe this, who knows if this is a cover, we don't have to go far into this, but like, CJ Stroud is everything that they hoped Trey Lance would be. Is that okay to say? Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why we have to bring everything back to Trey Lance, and I'm not talking about just you. Like, it's just like I've seen people say this. It's like, dude, like, can we just stop talking about him? Like, I'm sorry, respectfully. Like, I'm just like so over the conversation. Like, who cares, man? Okay, he's not on this team anymore.
A couple picks in, just a couple interceptions in, just for chaos, not for like. I would never have actually done this, and I don't even think he was activated. But if I was like a coach on the Cowboys, I would never have actually done this. But as a fan, for chaos, I was like, "Give me Trey, give me Trey" in that Cowboys game.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Like, actually bring them back. But we have like I think we have a Packers fan. 49ers ain't doing shit. I don't think definitely don't think that's even close to true. I think what this guy said is way more true. A well-rested and fresh 49ers team is dangerous. And I agree. I mean, I'm picking the 49ers to win. I am excited for the game. I think it'll be interesting. When we were previewing like potential matchups, I don't think I gave the Packers enough credit. So I'm also just excited to have a game to talk about. And right. I hope it's competitive, but I think at least it would be a close game, but I would put more money on it being not a close game because the 49ers are dominating than I would on the 49ers not doing anything. They have too many talented stars. So I think that commentator might be a little bit biased. Do you have a
But
bold
so are we, to be
prediction?
fair.
I'm never biased. Don't know what you're
I don't know about you, but I'm never biased. Yeah, I have score predictions. I thought about this before, like earlier today, because I went live with Young Heavy. And I actually here's what I said. I said 34-22. And that's still a win by like 12 points. And I say 22 because I think what we've seen in times that 49ers kind of even dominate a game towards the end, like, you know, the opposing team, of course, tries to get points on the board, much like the Cowboys try to get points on the board late in the
trying to come
game.
back?
You know, just trying to make it look a little bit better.
Yeah. Like
So I
you're
think
not
there's going to
actually
be,
gonna win, but you just want to be less embarrassed.
yeah, not that it means anything in this grand scheme of things, but so 34-22. And I think, you know, some of those points come towards the end. But I also like, you know, 34-17 also has like a nice ring to it. So like I'm in between those two right now. Maybe if it rains, like, okay, if it
Have it
rains,
ranked
I don't know,
different?
34-17.
I like the 34 though. Do you think, maybe this isn't fair, but I just like to, do you think like, I'm thinking Christian McCaffrey definitely getting a touchdown. Are you thinking Ayuk is going to be okay? Or do you think this is more of a run game, more Debo, more Christian McCaffrey centric?
Okay. If Jair Alexander tries to play this game and he's
Yeah.
not 100%, I like Brandon Ayuk in this game. I like him a lot. Maybe even if Alexander, you know, is healthy, I don't know, but I feel like he's not going to be 100%, and I think he's going to try to play in that game regardless.
Me too.
So I think that's an advantage to Ayuk.
I was gonna
But
say,
also, obviously, I also see Christian McCaffrey having some success. Don't be surprised if they mix in some Elijah Mitchell as well. And, you know, Debo, you know, turns it up for the playoffs too. So a healthy dose of Debo in this game too, I definitely won't be mad at. And let's not forget Kittle, man. Like, actually, there's so many guys
no.
who can like blow up and have a good game. It really just comes down to the matchups and who on that Packers defense Kyle Shanahan decides to exploit.
Wow, look, we have so many fans from other teams. Thank you, San Francisco, for the great Adam Peters. We will cherish him and love him there. I hope you guys do. We're not 1,000% sure, but if it was up to the media, we would think that he made like 90% of the really good picks. So hopefully you guys have a great time.
I think he's gonna have a great, you know, career in Washington. I think he's gonna be able to turn some things around for them. I think he'll get him a quarterback. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Like, you got to be able to get a quarterback, something they haven't been able to do. So
yeah,
excited for Adam Peters, man. Good for him.
There we go. And then super chat, James Wells. Stroud looks like, and I agree. I am not even 3 seconds in. I gotta read the comments before I put my input. Sorry. Stroud looks like a future top 5 or 3 quarterback. This isn't even about Lance. They wish Purdy was Stroud, as would 25 other teams. Yeah, I can see.
I mean, that's obvious. That's like,
yeah,
you know,
arm, more physically gifted. I can see that. Great.
A lot of teams would love to have CJ Stroud right now, for sure.
I think the interesting thing is, like, if we ask about talent, which we were doing, we were talking about Jordan Love and Brock Purdy, like, and even CJ Stroud, maybe I think you and I would both rank CJ Stroud at the top of that. But then when we ask about like statistics or at the end of their career, which one do you expect to have a better career? This is why it's so important where you end up. Is I can see Brock Purdy having the best career at the end of all their careers. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, I mean, year one for Stroud, and so if the Texans are the next Patriots dynasty, you guys can clip this. But for how it looks right now, I can see Brock Purdy, if they all have 10-year careers, being the one with the most accolades at the end of his career. So it really is about where you end up. But I do think, I mean, and that's the cool thing too about these 3 talented quarterbacks, is they did all end up, maybe the 49ers is the best team, but it looks like they're all in good positions. Like the Packers are an amazing organization. They have a great head coach. They need to kind of figure out their defense. Not, they've been up and down all year, but offensively, I think they have a really good mind in charge. The Texans' culture seems to be immaculate, and it's 1 year in. And then the 49ers are just a, legacy organization with, top 1-2 coach in the NFL right now. So, yeah, I'm excited to see all of them, James. Clickbait now. No disrespect. What makes me an expert? We're not experts. We're just having fun.
I like the Packers.
Yeah, you'll be okay. 27-16. Okay. I'm thinking they're gonna score in the 30s because wait, 27. I don't know if he was giving us
Bills
the
game
score
right now.
or if it's the Bills game.
24-17.
That's interesting. Look at the Steelers kind of hanging around.
That is kind of interesting, actually.
Josh Allen is so scary. Don't let him go to the Super Bowl, guys. No Josh Allen in the Super Bowl. That is not a matchup I want to see. Talking about CJ Stroud and like star quarterbacks, Josh Allen is just one of those guys. I know that he kind of has the tendency to turn the ball over, but what is it, like give it and take it away? He will, I don't know, score it and give it away, but he will score more. He's so scary. They can be down,
yeah, he's crazy.
and like if they have like 30 seconds left, I'm like, they're gonna win. This is I totally believe in Josh Allen. I prefer Bills over the Ravens. I don't. Is that wrong? Maybe. I think like team wise, Ravens better. Also, Lamar is incredible, but Josh Allen is so scary. I've always really enjoyed him though.
I mean, Lamar's scary too.
Yeah,
they're both really good in their own right, but you gotta look at the defenses.
Once again,
I can't hear you. You're muted? Can you guys hear her? I can't hear her. The AirPods. And now you're muted, but probably because you took off the head. She's muted. Yeah, now you're muted. When you took the headphones off, I think you got muted. You're muted though.
Sorry.
Oh, it's still okay. There you go. Okay. I think something up with your headphones. See the AirPods.
There. AirPods, man. Yeah. But I know that you have another show coming up. So everyone, make sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're gonna be going over more stuff. I think with Jose tomorrow on here, preparing for the Packers game. Really excited to look more into that. Probably gonna rewatch some of their previous games. Someone is saying I'm still muted. I hope
No, you're not. You're not.
Okay. They're
yeah. See, maybe just like a second.
You guys know that Baby Bash song? I'm back here to cater to you. Anyways, sorry. In a different life, I was a singer. Not a good one. But when I was in middle school, I used to tell everyone that I was Britney Spears' sister, but like I was like Hannah Montana, and that it was like a secret, and I wanted to live a normal life. And I got so into this lie that there was this girl that I did Girl Scouts with, and she was like kind of my best friend. And I told her, and she was like, "Okay, but tell me if you're lying." And I was like, I'm not lying, because I was like, if my bet, like if I convince her, like everyone's gonna ask her and be like, give us the, like on the down low. And so I was like, no, I'm tenfold doing this. I used to like stand on, my mom had this boyfriend who had like a really tall kitchen table, and I used to stand and like do little shows. And then one time, my friend's house, who I'm at right now, I was singing in the car, and she was like, "Hey, Ashley, you can't sing. Your pitch is so off." And she was making fun of me, and it was really sad. And now every time we're in the car, I sing kind of quiet. She's like, "You can go back to singing. I feel like I crushed you." So anyways, really great ending there. But I hope everyone likes and subscribes to this YouTube channel, enjoys the rest of the Bills-Steelers game.
Yeah.
We're going to be on tomorrow looking at the entire playoff matchup, all the teams that the 49ers might play that might play each other. And make sure to go like and subscribe to Steph's channel as well, because she's going to be on in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, or whenever this game ends, because now it looks like it's kind of good. So I might I might push it back a little bit. But yeah, I'll be going live with Weston. We're just going to talk about this weekend of games and, kind of give an early preview of this 49ers-Packers divisional round. So make sure you guys tune into that. But thanks for having me, Ashley. As always, fun on a Monday.
Thank you so much. I just have to, don't worry, someone said I could pass for Britney Spears' sister, and anytime I get that, I've got to put that up. Go back, we have so many fans of other teams. You guys can definitely, my dad is so late, he's like, turn your mic on. Dad, we're past that. Catch up.
Oh, no.
Anyways, I hope you guys have a great week. I'm excited that we have lots to talk about this week. Bye weeks are fun to watch other teams, but after a little while, you're like, give me something.
Right, I know. We're anxious now.
Yeah. So I think there's practice tomorrow too, so there's going to be lots to go over. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening and a good rest of the game. If you're drinking, make sure you drink water, hydrate yourself. Have a good one. Bye, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe.